Right, let's dive into this absolute circus, shall we? First up, you've got Donald Trump. Donald Trump. The chap with the signature orange hue, the one whose voice seems permanently stuck on megaphone mode and who, lest we forget, used to be the President of the United States. He's a character, isn't he? A walking, talking embodiment of a reality TV show that somehow stumbled into the Oval Office. He loves big rallies, big words, especially tremendous and disaster, and it seems, big public fallouts with other very rich blokes. He's not exactly known for his quiet diplomacy, more for his, shall we say, robust approach to disagreements. And in the other corner, weighing in with a Twitter account that could probably power a small city with its sheer chaotic energy, is Elon Musk. You know him. The tech billionaire, the real-life Iron Man, if Iron Man was less about saving the world and more about, well, tweeting. This is the genius, or madman depending on your perspective, behind Tesla's flashy electric cars, SpaceX's rockets aiming for Mars, and X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, now apparently a playground for his every fleeting thought. He's a man who dreams big, builds bigger, and occasionally picks fights with entire governments or, in this case, ex-presidents. What a time to be alive, hey? Now believe it or not, these two titans of ego were once, dare I say, China's proper mates, it seemed. Musk, for a time, even headed up Trump's wonderfully named Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Yes, DOGE, like the meme. Because why not? The aim was to shrink the federal government, a task akin to trying to give a cat a bath noble but likely to end in scratches. Musk also reportedly chucked a massive $275 million, some say $288 million, towards Trump's 2024 campaign, and was apparently promised a lekker $3 billion in federal contracts for his companies. Sweet deal, no? But, as with many a fairy tale romance built on mutual convenience and large sums of money, the cracks began to show. It wasn't long before Musk left his post at Doge. Trump, never one to miss an opportunity for a bit of spin, claimed he'd asked Musk to pack his bags, saying he was wearing thin and going crazy. Musk, on the other hand, probably had his own version. It's the classic, he said scenario, but played out by two of the planet's most notoriously thin-skinned individuals. The bromance was cooling faster than a Joburg winter morning, setting the stage for a truly spectacular public meltdown. So, when did this cozy alliance properly go belly up? Well, mark your calendars for June 2025, folks, because that's when the whole thing exploded like a cheap firework. What was once a seemingly tight partnership, a marriage of big money and big politics, publicly imploded with all the grace of a toddler discovering gravity. One minute they were, metaphorically speaking, sharing a milkshake with two straws, and the next they were slinging mud like it was an Olympic sport. It's the kind of drama that makes you reach for the popcorn, even if you know it's probably bad for democracy, or at least bad for your blood pressure. The main culprit, the spark that lit this massive bonfire of vanities, appears to be Trump's signature domestic policy bill. Now Musk, never one to shy away from expressing an opinion, called this bill, and I quote, a disgusting abomination and massive, outrageous, pork-filled. Strong words, hey? You can almost hear him spitting them out between bites of whatever artisanal, gluten-free snack billionaires eat. This wasn't just a minor disagreement over a semicolon in a subclause. This was Musk essentially saying Trump's big legislative baby was, well, ugly. And we all know how Trump reacts to criticism of his babies. And why, you might ask, was Musk so incredibly coy, so utterly cheesed off about this particular piece of paper? Well, it turns out this disgusting abomination was set to hit Musk right where it hurts. His wallet. The bill proposed to end the rather juicy $7,500 tax credits for electric vehicles, a big selling point for Tesla. It also aimed to phase out subsidies for batteries and lithium, axe support for EV charging stations, and crucially, kill regulations that allowed Tesla to sell clean air credits. Those credits alone were worth a staggering $595 million in the first quarter of 2025, more than Tesla's net profit for that period. Eesh, that's gotta sting. Naturally, this led to a public slanging match. Musk accused Trump of ingratitude, claiming, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51 to 49 in the Senate." A bold claim, suggesting his millions were the kingmaker. Trump, in his typical understated fashion, shot back that Elon was just having a tantrum because we took the EV mandate. It's like watching two very wealthy, very powerful children fighting over their toys in the world's most expensive sandpit. The rest of us just have to hope they don't break anything too important. Just when you thought this brawl couldn't get any messier, Elon Musk decided to pour a whole backy load of petrol on the flames. He took to his favorite megaphone, X, and dropped an absolute bombshell. He posted, and I'm paraphrasing slightly for dramatic effect here, but essentially, at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Ag, that's not just throwing shade, that's dropping a whole bloody tree on the guy. And just to make sure everyone was paying attention, he added, "Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out." All this, mind you, without a shred of publicly available evidence. Now, Trump's association with Jeffrey Epstein, the late disgraced financier and convicted sex offender, isn't exactly new news. There are photos. Trump once called Epstein a terrific guy back in 2002, though he has since condemned his crimes and denied any involvement. During his campaign, Trump had actually promised to release all the details about Epstein, but as of June 2025, well into his second term, that hasn't quite materialized. There was a Phase 1 release, but critics said it was mostly old news stuff already out there. So, Musk's tweet landed on some already suspicious ground, making people wonder, what in those files? Trump's reaction? Predictably, it was not calm. He didn't just deny it, he went full Trump. He hopped onto his own platform, Truth Social, and threatened to terminate all federal contracts and subsidies to Musk's companies. SpaceX, Tesla, the whole lot. He called it the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars. It's a classic Trump move. When attacked, attack back harder, preferably aiming for the financial jugular. This wasn't just a denial. It was a declaration of war, threatening to kneecap Musk's empire, which relies quite a bit on those government gigs, especially SpaceX with NASA. The fallout from this particular accusation was immediate. House Democrats, smelling blood in the water, immediately called for the full release of the Epstein files. Musk, meanwhile, seemed to be reveling in the chaos, doubling down on his claims. It's a high-stakes game of chicken with potentially huge implications. Is Musk bluffing? Does he actually know something? Or is this just a very public, very reckless attempt to damage Trump? Either way, it's turned an already ugly fight into something far more sinister, dragging some very dark shadows into the spotlight. This is no longer just about tax credits, folks. This is getting heavy. Now let's talk about something Musk has been vocal about. This idea of debt slavery tariffs, or at least how Trump's policies might lead to something similar. While the term itself wasn't explicitly tied to tariffs in the immediate news, Musk slammed Trump's big spending bill as pork-filled and a recipe for massive deficit increases. Imagine a government spending money like a sailor on shore leave, cutting taxes for some, and then slapping on tariffs that might hurt its own people or other countries, all while racking up a national credit card bill the size of the Karoo. That debt has to be paid by someone, right? Usually it's future generations, effectively enslaved to paying off today's lekker spending spree. The financial markets, bless their jittery souls, certainly noticed this billionaire bust-up. On June 5th, the day the Epstein allegations really hit the fan, Tesla stock took a dive, falling 14%. That's a casual $150 billion in value wiped out, poof, gone. Trump Media, the company behind Truth Social, wasn't spared either, dropping 8%. Both stocks apparently stabilized later. But it's a stark reminder that when these titans clash, real money and potentially real jobs are on the line. Musk even threatened to decommission SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft, critical for NASA, before walking that back. Talk about playing with fire, or in this case, rockets. This public spat is doing wonders for their reputations too, isn't it? Trump, already a polarizing figure, now has fresh Epstein-related mud slung his way, forcing more uncomfortable questions. And Musk? Well, he's always cultivated this image of the eccentric genius, the maverick pushing boundaries. But lately, some are wondering if he's veered from eccentric into potentially unhinged, threatening critical space infrastructure, accusing a former president of being in Epstein's files without proof. It's a long way from just building cool cars. Even Stephen Bannon is calling for investigations into Musk. When Bannon thinks you've gone too far, perhaps it's time for a little self-reflection. So why should you, the average Joe or Jane just trying to get through the week, care about two super rich dudes having a public tantrum? Well, it matters. It matters because it shows the incredible influence wealthy individuals can wield over politics and policy. It matters because the stability of government contracts and even national space programs can be threatened by personal vendettas. It matters because serious, damaging accusations are being thrown around like confetti, potentially undermining public trust. And it matters because the call for transparency, like the full release of the Epstein files, often gets louder when it suits someone's personal battle. This isn't just entertainment, folks. This is a glimpse into how power works. And sometimes, how it breaks. Yani, it's a proper mess.